Hi class and welcome to Unit 8, our final unit. We will be discussing Fifth Amendment issues in this unit, specifically under what circumstances can a confession obtained by the police be used as evidence. In the law of confession, the courts have relied for many years on the 14th Amendment Due Process Clause to determine whether the confession could be used. If the police used physical torture to extract the confession, for example, this confession would have violated the defendant's 14th Amendment Due Process Clause, and the confession would be determined as illegally obtained and excluded from evidence. After Miranda v. Arizona, however, the courts use Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination to determine whether the confession obtained by the police can be used as lawful evidence. In Miranda v. Arizona, the court established the Miranda procedural protection. Before police interrogation, the police must issue the Miranda warnings. The main contents of the Miranda warnings are those that you might be familiar with. The police must inform you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one will be provided for you. These Miranda warnings must be issued to the suspect before custodial interrogation. If the police fail to issue these warnings before extracting a confession in custodial interrogation, this confession will not be admissible in court, regardless of whether or not the police used physical torture in violation of the 14th Amendment. In other words, the Fifth Amendment provides a procedural protection to the person in custody. And if the police fail to follow the procedures of Miranda, the confession will be considered unconstitutionally obtained. As with so much of what we have learned in this course, there is an exception to this rule as well. The court created a public safety exception to the Miranda warning requirement. In other words, if there is a concern for public safety, the police can interrogate the suspect without issuing the Miranda warnings. Another issue we will be discussing is a specific interrogation technique detailed in the court case of Missouri v. Siebert. That is, interrogation first, without the warning, and the interrogation again, with the warning. This is a police interrogation technique that used to be used to get around the Miranda warning requirement. The police would bring in the suspect, not issue the Miranda warning. Then they would interrogate the suspect, and after the person confesses, they would then issue the Miranda warnings. And then they would ask the person to repeat the confession. The court said that this type of police interrogation technique is in violation of the suspect's Miranda rights and should not be used. Another issue in this unit is what constitutes a police interrogation. We know that after the police has arrested the person and before interrogation, they must issue the Miranda warning. But at what stage of the police investigation does custodial interrogation start and the requirement for Miranda warning attach? When is it determined that the person is arrested and in police custody? Read the court decisions in this unit to get a fuller picture of police interrogation and Miranda. Another issue we will discuss is under what circumstances should we consider the suspect in custody within the meaning of Miranda when the interrogation is not done obviously by a police officer. In one court decision, the undercover police officer interrogated an inmate in the cell, and the issue is whether or not in that situation the suspect should be considered to be in custody within the meaning of Miranda. What are your thoughts? Enjoy our last unit class. Thanks.